4th of July. So how many of you have been to Lift the Rock before? Okay, great. So for those of you that haven't, Lift the Rock is very focused on something a little bit unique. What we do is we help connect the business community to the startup community. So we do that by actually asking that every one of you think of people that each of our presenters today need to meet. Because if you were growing a business, you would want to meet people who could help you further your mission, right? So today, our two presenters are going to ask to meet some very specific kind of people, and I'm going to circle back to that in just a second. I've realized I don't have my clicker. Turns out, I cannot manage a coffee cup, a microphone, and a remote all at the same time. So we're putting down the coffee cup. So, first and foremost, breakfast this morning is sponsored by the awesome Dane Dover with Dane Dover CPAs. Where is Dane? There's Dane. So be sure you give him a little social media love, thank him in person, and for the love of all that is good and holy, eat the food. So I appreciate that if you guys would do that. Also, if you have CPA needs, you know, I'm just saying that's what he does, so you should talk to the guy. Also, a special thank you to the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce for all that they do to support our programs and the Venture Center as a whole, as well as Jani King, the commercial janitorial cleaning service that helps keep this place spick and span. Also, our screaming fast gigabit internet is provided by Hyperleap. Hyperleap is one of our very own startup companies, so we're proud to, in the most, obvious and physical of ways, support local startups by connecting them with businesses. So today, as you're sitting through these presentations and you're thinking about awesome things that are happening and you're taking pictures, I encourage you to share the love on social media. We use the hashtag #LiftTheRock. You can find the Venture Center at Venture Center, and you can find today's two presenters both on Twitter and on Facebook. Dream Forward is up there. I think they're Dream Forward Fin, and Hexanika is pretty simple. They're just at Hexanika, so you can find them easily either direction. So this morning, Grant is going to be our first presenter. Grant, hand in the air. Okay, he's a tall guy, so you can't miss him. Also, name tag. And Yogesh is going to present for Hexanika. Grant's going to be up first. This morning, Grant is going to talk to you about his awesome platform that he has for 401ks, and specifically, he would like to meet some people who have payroll services or who have companies that are just getting to that threshold where they're ready to start offering great benefits to their employees, things like 401k services. And of course, bank connections are always good for everybody. And then Yogesh and Hexanika, they would like to meet, C-suite level decision makers inside of banks, regulatory experts, and really any kind of local networks that are very well connected. They're all about making connections in the local area. So that's what we have today, Dream Forward Financial, and again, Hexanika. And one more time before we get started, I want to thank Dane for the awesome breakfast this morning. And now I'm going to hand it over to Grant, but before I do, I'm going to remind you, have you ever presented to a room where there was no energy? Is it sad? It is sad. So we're not going to do that to Grant or to Yogesh. We're going to get on our feet and we're going to welcome Grant to the floor. So,
All right, much better. All right, outdoor voices, great. So anyway, I want you to raise your hand if
You're confident you're paying low fees. You love the 401k website, super intuitive, easy for you to remember who your 401k plan is even with, and you feel like you're on track for retirement and saving enough. Does anyone want to raise their hand and agree with that statement? You don't have to know anything about the way the 401k industry works to see the scope of the problem here and the scope of the opportunity. And in your defense, it's somewhat not your fault. Think about people like my mother, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. They all had pensions, and we will never have that for most of us in this room. And if you ever read a story about America's retirement crisis, in that story it probably focuses on the fact that people like my grandfather had a guarantee, and we don't. You have no guarantee. If you don't manage your retirement properly, you can run out of money before you die. That's a scary thought. But in our mind, the uncomfortable truth is the real reason we have this crisis is that savings used to be handled for you. Your company saved for you. You didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to deal with it. It never even had to cross your mind. And now it's totally voluntary. And fundamentally, that shift from a mandatory saving to a voluntary saving is the root cause of our problem. Because humans are short-term animals, and it's really hard to get people to save for something that's very far away. So in your defense, the system is not designed to work well. With all that said, what is it we actually do? There's 3 key points to our value prop. Number 1, new technology to boost the savings rate, especially of middle and lower income employees. If you look at a lot of plans, the high earners tend to save, but the middle and lower tier don't save anything or save very little. So we'll talk about that next bullet quite a bit, the next couple slides, but other 2 key points, no conflicts of interest, we don't make money off the investments, and third is low fees. No annual monthly fees for the business, lower cost for the employees, save money for everyone. So 3 key points to our 401k, low cost, no conflicts of interest, and new technology to boost the savings rate. Let's talk about how the technology actually works. And it's somewhat hard to see this screen capture. You probably can't read anything that's on this screen right now, but let me walk you through it. So what happens is every time you try to do something that's not your best interest, lower the amount you're saving, take out a loan, cash out your investments, put it all in a money market fund, our emotional advisor immediately intervenes, talks to you about it, like a financial advisor would if you're sitting across the table from you trying to coach you up to do the right thing. Everyone has their own sort of excuse they latch onto. Think about your own excuse in your head for why you don't save for retirement. I would bet it's a couple things. I'm young, I'm going to rely on Social Security, I've got to accomplish X goal first, I don't make enough money. Whatever your excuse is, when you try to do something that's not in your best interest, the emotional advisor immediately intervenes and starts talking to you about it and try to get you to do the right thing. And there's some AI we're working on behind the scenes. We're very excited about what we're building. But when I say the word AI, people tend to have a very negative perception of artificial intelligence and replacing cars, replacing drivers with self-driving Ubers. So we're not trying to replace humans. If anything, we want to make humans more effective. So many of you in this room might have had at some point a corporate seminar on 401ks. You got an email from your boss saying, there's a seminar we're doing on 401ks, come talk to these financial advisors. And that's great, but what if those financial advisors knew going into that meeting who was highest risk? So we could tell them, we're modeling that these people are highest risks, this is what they told the emotional advisor their problems were. So you could go into that meeting knowing exactly who to talk to and why they're worried. So make the human advisors much more effective and efficient. We're not trying to replace humans in any way. But to wrap it up here on the product side, it's an emotional advisor, intervenes for whatever problem you have, tries to walk you through that and get you to do the right thing. So no matter what time of day you access the site, where in the world you are, whenever you try to do something stupid, we'll step in the way and try to keep you from doing that. So that's how the product works. The team, really quickly. My background is I was the first robo-advisor analyst. For anyone in the fintech world who's heard of that phenomenon, I was the first one to cover the space from 2011 to 2015. Know all the entrepreneurs, the founders, the media very well through that experience. I lead our sales and marketing effort. The other 2 co-founder level individuals are Brendan, who's our operations guy. His background is in operations. He spent a couple years in management consulting for the big asset managers and 401k players of the world. He's been a CFO and COO before at a startup in Boston, and that's where he met our CTO, Ryan Kahn. Very excited to have him on board. He's the best developer we know. And it's worth mentioning as well that he's very good at building the architecture that scales over time. So he's taken several companies from a handful of employees to 40 or so person teams, and very good at making technology that doesn't break with scale. We have a couple other folks involved with the company, but those are the 3 founder level individuals. So let's talk about the market size next. There's a lot of money in 401ks, $4.5 trillion. To put that in context, the GDP of Japan, the third largest economy in the world, is 4.1 trillion. So a lot of money in this space. But, we can't get all of that market. There's intense competition for the Google and GE size plans in the world. But we have a classic startup model where there's a slice of the market that they don't even want. And that's roughly the GDP of Spain. And that is 1.17 trillion in plans with under 25 million in assets. And roughly, it's a casual point, a couple of trillion, a little close there, but roughly the size of Spain. And the reason we look at that size of the market is Charles Schwab does not even bother with plans under 25 million in assets. They don't bother serving them. The legacy costs are too high. They don't care. So we think about our slice of the market as being a place where most of the big incumbents don't want to be. So we can scale up in that part of the market and with time move up the ladder before we really butt heads with the big guys. So a lot of money in this space, and even in our small slice of the pie, there's quite a bit of money to go around. The last thing I'll mention here before I wrap things up is marketing and sales. I could spend 10 minutes on this slide alone, but I will spare you that. So we look at it as both channel and direct. Channel being partnering with someone like an HR firm, a payroll firm, lawyers, accountants, RIAs, who are constantly talking to folks about benefits, who are the ones that are hearing the problems about the 401k, and who have clients who need a 401k plan. So we spend a lot of time on channel sales. Very excited about how that is going. Direct sales is actually selling directly to individual companies, so we're doing that as well. And the final sort of pipeline, it's channel, direct, and then press. So we got a passing one paragraph mention in the New York Times about a couple months ago, and we got about 20 leads from that one paragraph. So we're very excited to start doing our own press cycle when the time is right here. So with that, I'll turn it over to questions in a moment here, but I would ask for our ask, and you sort of mentioned this a little bit, Jess, is that we just moved from New York City to Little Rock. So we don't know many folks here. We came from New York City. So if you know anyone who is potentially in the channel sales space, payroll, HR, local lawyers, accountants, RIAs, or any just business owner you might know who doesn't have a 401k, we can help. So we're new in this space. We'd love to, if you know anyone, hear your thoughts and potentially get introduced. And with that, I will turn it over to Q&A. Here is my contact information as well if you'd like to get in touch. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Grant. Okay, so I'm getting some weird mic feedback, so I'm just going to do this away from Grant, somewhere else, over here. I don't know. We'll try it again. All right, so.
Better?
So if you guys have questions for Grant, which I'm sure some of you do, if you would make your way up here to this mic and ask them, that would be awesome. Please say who you are for our viewers that watching at home. That would be helpful. I see Joe Calhoun getting up. I'm going to make sure this mic is on.
Hi, good. Joe Calhoun, Calhoun Law Firm. Can you flesh out a little bit more the coordination between the technology and the actual advisors, the people inside?
Yep, definitely. So the way we think about a typical way a advisor works the plan right now, they'll go on site, do some seminars, meet with some folks. That's the way it's been done, and it works. What we want to do is before they go to that meeting, give them a report and tell them, these are the employees, sorry about the feedback, guys. These are the employees that haven't saved, that aren't saving. These are the folks who almost opted out, who talked to our emotional advisor and decided to stick with it or lower it a little bit less. And these are the reasons why they told us that. So the advisor goes into the meeting knowing which employees are highest risk and why they're high risk. So that's sort of what we want to do is arm them with the best possible information so they use their time as efficiently as possible.
Okay, sorry about the feedback. Difficulties.
I could just take this off and talk, project.
Well, pick you up on the recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Can you turn that bad boy off, Grant?
Okay.
I'm Jay Gadbury, Financial Group, Wealth Management. We do retirement plans.
Good to see you, Jay.
There's about $4 billion in central Arkansas, and about $1 billion of it is in little bitty plans that nobody else wants to fool with, mess with, squirrel with. Robo-advisors is mechanized for the low-end, non-customized account. This is for the low-end, non-customized retirement plans, in my mind, $1.5 million, $2 million and below, that nobody else wants to act as a consultant. I consult on the bigger plans, $1 million and above. But the $1 million plan is paid. So this is where the future is robo 401k advisory.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think part of what we can do with technology is make the economics add up for the smallest plans in a way the economics don't add up for a lot of big firms with their legacy costs. So I always go back and forth on whether to call ourselves a robo-advisor, because a lot of what we're trying to do is almost be an emotional advisor, help them with whatever emotional issues they have. But it is true, a lot of the core principles of using automation and technology to reduce the costs and serve a lower end of the market definitely apply to us. So we love to talk to small plans anywhere in Arkansas and beyond.
Any other questions for Grant? Man, it's a quiet room this
All right, well, it is July 6th, so come talk to me afterwards. That sounds great. I'll see you guys around.
Okay, so next up we have Hexanika, and Yogesh is going to make sure his mic is turned on. Wait, was he just told not to use it? What's happening? Is he using this? What's happening? So, I'm going to do a little song and dance routine for you while we're waiting to figure this out. Are we good? I am on number 3. For those of you watching at home, technical difficulties are awesome. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so, Yogesh with Hexanika.
All right, thank you. So I use this.
Yes, you're going to use that. And you're going to use this. And we're going to welcome him to the stage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for standing up. One of the sad stories, the topic that I'm talking about or going to talk about, neither my clients are interested, not many people are interested, except for probably a few exceptions like Chad, whose law firm is making a lot of money on regulations. So let me do my best to make this topic interesting. So what at Hexanika, by the way, good morning everyone, I'm Yogesh Pandit, CEO of Hexanika. At Hexanika, we are innovating in regulation, and what we are doing is we have created a seamless end-to-end regulatory reporting software. So that's what we do. We are here from New York, and before starting Hexanika, I was a senior vice president at Citibank, in charge of sourcing data for compliance. And my co-founder, who's also here, Huma, was with me at Citibank. And Rahul, who used to work for Sanjad, now FIS, everybody's aware of FIS, managed a couple of softwares. Mac has 30 years experience. He built software that probably all of us in the room use, which is Excel. We combined our sources, and I'm going to talk about the problem that we decided to solve. I'm also happy to say that the ex-CIO of Deutsche Bank, ex-CFO of Citibank, ex-CEO of HSBC, who ran some of the largest compliance programs for these large institutions, are part of our advisory board also. So collectively, we have around 400 years of experience. That probably says it all, as to probably that's the only thing that we know. Moving forward, if it moves forward. So what is the problem? Let's look at what we are trying to solve. In the industry, what has happened is the softwares that are used by these banks are very rigid, inadequate. And since the Financial Reform Act, we don't want banks to die again, right? So since then, the regulations are increasing and they're changing regularly. And that is resulting in high cost of compliance. But do people in the room know what high cost of compliance mean? It means $70 billion of annual spend by these banks. And it doesn't stop there. To top it up, they pay $60 billion in fines. And that's where the legal force comes into the play. And what we are trying to do out of this market is we are addressing $18 billion of software and people spend in this area. That's what we are trying to fix. And let's see how we fix. How does the landscape look like? It's a combination of these rigid legacy softwares Jack Henry, you have heard about it, and in many others. And I call it as a band-aid approach, meaning people, Excel files, lot of data tools are being connected with this to somehow carry on this exercise. When you go into a client enterprise, how does it look like? These softwares, regulatory reporting softwares, are sitting differently in one area, and all these data, which is new need of the regulators, are on the other side of the spectrum. They are not connected, they are disparate, etc. And how does this get connected? Let's take a look. By the way, this is not our solution. This is the problem. At Citibank, this is how we used to solve this problem. Lot of connections, manual, complex and inaccurate. But let's see the quantum of it. At Citibank alone, there are 30,000 people doing this function globally. Isn't that mind-boggling? That's probably number of employees that a company has here in the US. Their yearly budget, mind well, yearly budget is $2 billion. B as in boy, by the way. It's not M. And in spite of having all this, the regulators used to come back and say, sorry, I cannot understand your number, or you have said it incorrectly, please pay the fines. And this is where, it was very frustrating for me as a senior vice president that I have budget, I have people, but still we are not able to explain to regulators what is happening. What should we do about it? That's when we decided to start Hexanika. What do we do? If you click, we have built algorithms and rules engine. Essentially, that will automate the whole data sourcing process. We are using innovative technologies such as machine learning and big data, and that is very important because the whole sourcing, this manual effort and band-aid approach goes away. What is more important is the reporting piece of it is connected to this piece also. And why this is important? Since the Financial Reform Act, the regulators want to know what is this number you submitted in the regulatory report and how did you source it? What changes did you make in the middle? It all stays in one system. You can explain, my life at Citibank would have been easy if I had this software. The second thing that we are doing is we are connecting with softwares such as FIS. What is the beauty of it? Once you connect, you can scale it up to different softwares. So it becomes a plug and play. If you are using one of the systems, it's a plug and play, your reports start coming out. That is the magic that we are creating in the market space. Why are we unique compared to other products? Number one that you saw is it becomes a plug and play with this automation and connection with industry-wide systems. Number two is once you have this core banking system such as FIS, you still need to connect other data. And I was always on the business side. It was frustrating to talk to technology to tell me, can you please send me this data? Now we are empowering business users. Whoever can use Excel can use our software. You do not have to call technology to get the data or connect the data. The middle piece is more important. That's where the source data gets connected to the reports. So we have filed for IP not only for our algorithms, but for our rules engine also. What does our rule engine do? Is it makes first time ever makes it scalable. How does it make it scalable? You create one rule for a report. For example, total of interest and fees for domestic single family home. You can use it across different reports for Federal Reserve. Not only that, you can use it across different regulations for banks which are outside this state or outside this country. And never in the past it has happened. So this centralized way of doing things has changed the method. And in the last piece, especially the regional and community banks here, who have problems in resources, who have problem in managing this, we are hosting it. Meaning, if regulation changes and we do not need additional data, we just inform the clients that we have made change for you, you don't need to worry about it. So we literally take the whole headache on us so that the banks can focus on their business. And that is what we are trying to do. This is the unique space that we are in. We are managing not only the reporting and data, and we call it as a self-service reporting because we empower business users. Talking is not enough. We have been able to fix client challenges, and you will be surprised with the quantifiable benefits that we are able to get. 40%, up to 40% reduced cost of compliance. That we can do for the banks, and that is the need of the market as well. How do we go to market? We have built the ecosystem of partnership for implementation, for deployment. Most of our leads come through our partners, but within our management of 400 years experience, we get clients through that also. I'm happy to say we are very close in starting engagements with large banking institutions to deploy this solution as well. We are very confident that we will be able to acquire between 3% of the market globally. There are 36,000 banks globally. There are 8,000 banks just in the US. With this innovative solution, if I am able to give 40% benefit, can we get that market? 100%. I'm absolutely confident. With the ecosystem that we have, with the product that we have, with the people that we have, we can. Why it is interesting to the clients? Because our rules engine is scalable for other use cases. The same number they can use for management reporting, risk reporting, other reporting. That makes it very interesting for them. In terms of pro forma, even if I get to start with just $8,000 per client, so the cost of report is almost less than 50% compared to our competition. With just 500 clients globally, I'll be able to generate $150 million in the revenue in the 5th year. And we are confident that we will be able to do that in spite of reducing 40% of cost. Let's do a quick recap. The market is $70 billion. That's what they're spending. Fines. So we have a capability because of accuracy of data and consistent reporting that we probably reduce their fines and cater to this $18 billion market. With this innovative solution, which is only software with innovative technology and with all these unique components, can we get 1% or less than 1% of the market? With the people that we have, with the product and the IPs that we have, and with the whole ecosystem of partnerships that we have built, we are 100% confident that we will be able to get that market. What we are looking for is we are raising funds. So the bankers are here, investors are here. I'm ready to talk. Let's make money together. We are also ready to talk to banks who want to adopt this innovation. We want to make banks in Arkansas much more efficient, scalable, etc., ready for the next phase. I met with a banker who said, I don't want to increase my business this year because I'll cross $10 billion. That will change when you tie up with Hexanika. We want to talk to implementation partners and the association and regulators, law firms, who talk to our clients and collectively solve this problem. So thank you very much for listening to how we are innovating in the regulatory space. And please reach out to me with any questions, comments that you may have. Thank you very much.
You got to leave it on, Yogesh. They might have questions. Okay, so anybody have a question for Yogesh? You do? Well, you know what to do. Arise to the mic. Say who you are and then tell us your question. It should Elise Stroud.
Is it? Okay. Yogesh, great presentation.
Thank
Would you go back to your slide that shows how you're saving money for people? One that shows 40% and a certain amount on HR costs?
Yeah. If this animation.
Okay. So processing time has a cost and resources have a cost. So are those figured into your 40% savings in cost, or is that just in
So for this pilot, it is specific to this use case. This cost was relevant to how many resources, especially the consulting resources, which are more expensive, can be reduced as a result of this. When it comes to the actual hardware and processing cost, that was not even calculated in the 40%. So I can probably add 5% more. But that the resource cost was the easiest cost to calculate.
Okay, so a follow-on question to that is, how much are you able to reduce the penalty fees?
So I wish there was a direct relationship with, a component of regulation that we fixed to, the relevant fines that were paid for this regulation. For this regulation, the problem was that the client was not able to return the equity. It was not where they had not paid the fines. So that is a huge cost because the C-level executive had lost their jobs. The CEO and CFO of this bank, which is one of the largest European banks, had lost their jobs. So that's what we were able to fix for the next C-level executive.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Yogesh. Hey, so EY, Accenture, and even your own former bank spend a lot of money trying to solve this problem. What's so unique about your company and what you're doing that I should invest in you?
So one is, this is the first time in the market space that we have built a scalable platform, meaning that once you do implementation at one bank, probably the requirement to do it in the other bank has significantly reduced. The second thing is, along with the scalability, which is not apparent in the market space with any competing softwares, we have used or enabled innovation to do this. So with the machine learning piece, we are reducing the dependency that has never been seen in the marketplace. And because of scalability and this cost reduction that is visible to the clients, that's where the clients are also interested in working with us. So as an investor, you want to be with the company, A, which has unique IP, which we have. Number two is which is scalable. We are scalable. For example, one of the softwares that we work or integrating with, once we integrate, all the 300 banks that has their software are ready to go live without any additional coding. You cannot ever do that in the marketplace. So because of these two main factors, investors should be interested in investing in us.
All right. How many hours or level of effort have you put into your unique IP or your rules engine?
So the formal number of years will be 2 years, actually just 2 years in this month. But when it comes to how long we have been thinking, is probably a little bit more than that. So, but yes, we have been in existence for 2 years. We have built software for the last 2 years. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question for Yogesh? All right. Well, thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you.
Okay, so for those of you who have been here before, you know how this next little part's going to work. You recall that Grant, where are you, Grant? Hand in the air. Woo-hoo. Grant with Dream Forward Financial. Local businesses, that is broad. So I am sure that you guys know somebody who owns a local business. So Ashley is going to come around with the cards. If you recall, what we do is we write the name of somebody that we are going to commit to introduce Grant to. You can use our cards and write the information on the back. You can also use your own business card if you prefer. Either way, we're going to follow up and hold you accountable to that. We're not expecting you to share anyone's contact information with us right now. We just want to know that Bob is going to introduce Grant to Susan, right? And then the same for Hexanika. I think that Yogesh just told you who he wanted to meet. He's having a chat right now, but whom I can answer. Okay, so you remind them who you want to meet. Right. Thank you. So as you write these things down, if you would just indicate that it's Hexanika or Dream Forward on your card so that we can help keep that straight today. The other thing that we usually do at the end of Lift the Rock, and I have forgotten the clicker, Steve's going to advance it for me. So, typically what we do at the end of Lift the Rock is celebrate a traction event, right? Somebody gets a huge multi-million-dollar contract. They finally get their product into Walmart. They, sign a huge partnership agreement. They hire a CEO, some kind of excellent traction moment. But today we're doing something just a little bit different. We let you guys know several months ago that one of our near and dear startup co-founders and mentors had been diagnosed with a pretty aggressive form of cancer. And unfortunately, she moved on to her next adventure this past Monday on the 4th of July. I personally think it's super fitting that somebody with that kind of personality chose to go out on a day full of fireworks. So anyhow, to celebrate her, we're going to have her co-founder, Elise, come up and ring the gong for Bridget, because her personality was not the kind that was sad and mopey. Everything she did was a celebration. So in Bridget's honor, I want you to whack the hell out of that thing. Okay, you ready? She did an awesome job. All right. No being timid there. So again, in honor of Bridget Fennell-Ferris, we just wanted to remember her that way with a moment of, exultation as opposed to tears. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to ask that you guys fill out your cards. As far as Co-work Wednesday and catching up with the presenters for today, that's going to occur next door because we're going to need to turn this room over for another presentation pretty quickly. But before we leave, I want to say one more thing. The FIS EO1s are in the house. That's what all these green shirt people are. So I was just told that EO1s are basically like kindergarten, like immersive kindergarten for FIS, right? That they're being brought in directly out of college and being shown all the different business units inside of the company. So I think that that's pretty cool. So hopefully, I don't know who your supervisors are, but Lift the Rock is here every Wednesday at 9. So surely EO1s could come to Lift the Rock from time to time, right? It's business, it's leadership building, it's, they don't have to wear the shirts either. So, okay, so welcome you guys. Fill out those cards, and we'll see you again here next week. Thank you.